Trigger warning, this episode references alcohol and alcohol abuse.
If you or anyone you know is suffering from alcohol-related issues, please visit drinkaware.co.uk for advice and support.
1, 2, 3, go! Hello and welcome back to another episode of Espresso Bay. My name's Callum.
And my name's Lee, and today we do have a special guest with us today as well. We have Jack, aka Electric Yeti.
Hi Lee, hi Callum, thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate the surprise invite.
Yeah, no, always happy to have a surprise, and that is something to do with our incredible organisation as well, so we will have to take the blame on that. But we're very happy to have you here with us.
Thank you very much, good to be here.
So to start us off, we're going to talk just a little bit about what you do, because you have very kindly let us use your intro and, your music for our intro and our outro. Well, as I mentioned before, as Electric Yeti.
So I've been using GarageBand on the iPad for about 10 years now, and it was just a very easy program that I could plug my instruments into, and so basically it was a nice way for me to record music and just get my own ideas down, even though my first ones were terrible. But as I evolved as a musician, the program evolved with updates and I need to do more complex stuff. So and it's just nice that it's on the iPad because it's quite intuitive. You can play piano with your fingers and play drums with your fingers, that kind of thing.
What do you usually play a piano with?
No, but like you can't on a computer.
Yeah, and so you do some stuff and you have it out on YouTube. Do you have it anywhere else? Just in case anyone is listening and thinks, oh, I'd like to hear what Electric Yeti is all about.
Well, in short, the short answer is I did have it on Spotify and everything, but now I do not.
Okay, so it's only available on YouTube.
Yeah, but anyone is welcome to go on there and download it on YouTube, download my songs and play them, do whatever you want, just enjoy.
And you said this off the podcast, which is really helpful. But my understanding now, given that you've actually said it out loud, is that you're intending to do some collaborative works with other artists. Is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm just looking for people to sort of hit me up. There's quite a few people who said they're interested in doing something, so if the song's good, I'll probably, release it under Electric Yeti, and if it's bad, so there you go, you can have that release it under whatever you want. So,
okay, so if you don't like it, they get the credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's very generous of you, mate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, we are going to be going into something else a bit more serious today, and which Callum is looking delighted about, and definitely not slightly hunted. Anybody who has had prior issues with alcohol and still has some mental issues pertaining to that, or who might find this triggering, this is your warning. Hopefully it won't get too dark, but it might get a little bit dark.
So very dark when I'm concerned.
You're always very dark, sir.
True.
So on the topic of going from darker to lighter, because I think things are pretty good now. You're here. You're doing well.
Yeah.
You're talking
My
into
life's
microphone.
on a tragic downward spiral. So
That's good. We like not tragic downward spirals.
and I'm still here, so
You are still here.
win-win.
There were some substance abuse issues in your past. Would that be
Oh,
fair?
definitely, yes. Multiple substance abuse issues, yes. I think the way I started off was just had a couple of drinks, maybe one or two after work. Then my workload picked up, so I was doing about 100, 120 hours a week.
Oof.
And the only way I could deal with that was either getting drunk, which wasn't enough to start with, so then I turned to other substances, alcohol and caffeine was just keeping me awake.
120 hours a
120
week.
hours a week, yeah. I was doing like 17, 18 hour days.
7 days a week.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
And then I had to start night portering at the hotel I was at because our night port wasn't there, so I had to do overnight shifts. And it was basically killing me, and the only way I got through it was drinking and substance abuse, basically.
Sorry, Jack, you looked like you were trying to say something there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've kind of been there. Weirdly enough, I never got to drink because I didn't have time, but occasionally we went on deck and snuck a joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on days when, because I was a yachty, on days when I wasn't a very good yachty, I was terrible at it. And that's kind of...
Is that why you're no longer a yachty, Jack?
Yeah, I was over... boats freak me out, man. Like, I was
That's a perfect job.
I was overweight and I was not a smoker. No, I was a smoker, which is not good. Like, no one smokes in the yachting industry. Like, and everyone that does is a secret smoker.
Yeah.
So, but I did some sort of, between 14 and 20 hour days, depending on. Yeah, so every day, 7 days a week. We
Yeah.
might get 1 day off in 2 weeks, something like
Yeah.
that, or an
I
afternoon.
feel
off in
you on
2
that
weeks.
one.
Yeah,
It starts off alright, but then eventually your body's saying no, you can't do it, and you have to turn to other things to.
and you're almost falling asleep on the job.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, the incredible thing is, I've worked 3 jobs at once and still not done 120-hour weeks. That's absolutely
It was
ridiculous. And even, I mean, I got tired enough at the stage that I had 2 car accidents, but
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing nearly double what I was doing. That's absolutely insane.
I think it was just, I had money coming in, it was a steady job, and it was just easy, it was just up the road.
Yeah.
But eventually, my body was just, I think after about 6-7 months of it, I was just
Christ.
absolutely
6 or
screwed.
7 months.
I did like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, and at the time, it was great, I loved it. But now when I look back on it, I was a complete idiot, and I should have just stopped, but I just couldn't, it was too easy. I didn't think I could find another job. I didn't realise how easy it is to get a chefing job, because that was only my 3rd job. So I stuck in it just because I didn't want to potentially lose all this income and be riddled with debt.
To be fair, I think that is actually an important message to pass on to anyone who is listening, which is that actually, if it's tough, yes, it might feel like you don't have a choice. There is always a choice, and you can always walk away.
Definitely. I think the way you've got to think of it is your mental health and your own health is more important than anything else.
Absolutely.
If something's making you feel and you don't like it, if you go to work and you're thinking, oh God, I've got to wake up for work, then you shouldn't be in the job.
No, I think that's very fair. So, you're in this situation. You're working 120 hours a week.
Yeah.
Drinking every night to sort of get through.
Yeah,
the
I
night, and then
think to start with I was having about 5 or 6 pints a night, and then it got through drinking to about 2 to 3 litres of spirits a day on
Jesus.
shift at night just to get through, and it was basically killing me.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
I've been similar. Like I've at some points in my life
Yeah,
in the past, but I've never been
You
quite
just
that
drink
much.
for the sake of drinking. I think it's just a workload. The only way I could get through it was either drinking or substance abuse. I won't mention it too much in this episode, but
So, the important question there, Callum, then, is what got you out? Because you're not in that stage anymore. I can vouch for that, ladies and gentlemen, because you've spent plenty of time in my company, and you've definitely not gone through 2 or 3 bottles of spirits, and you've been hanging out with me for more than 24 hours on at least one occasion.
yeah,
So, yes, you still enjoy the odd drink, but
Yeah.
not to the
same
the
length
abusive
or
stage
extent.
that you used to, yeah?
It was basically, I would have carried on doing it, but my body just wouldn't let me. It was like when I'm struggling to wake up, or not even going to bed for say 3-4 days in a row,
Christ.
Wow.
and it was just slowly, caffeine is one thing, but then if you're drinking, doing caffeine, and doing other substances, it's literally, your body just can't shut off. And I realised it was killing me, so I left and basically got a new job, and then COVID hit, and well, that's that.
So, actually, you're not just saying that your body didn't let you, but you're saying you chose to leave.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice, I couldn't do it. I was just like, I was spending way too much money, I basically was getting in debt, because obviously you've got to fuel this habit somehow. When you're not bringing in a lot, it hits you, and then, yeah,
Well,
troubling times.
may I say, Callum, thank you so much for sharing that with
That's alright.
me and Jack and with the listeners, because that is, I mean, I understand it's hard to talk about, and
Not really.
thank you so much.
From what I will
Thank you.
say is, it was hard, but I'm glad it happened, because then it made me realise my self-worth, and I was better than that, and I can do better than that. So, and that's basically the silver lining in the story.
Yeah, of course. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, it's good to understand what you're worth.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
That's alright.
May I share something that I probably wasn't going to, but
Of course you can, sir.
yeah,
Of course you
I
can.
thought I'd share something
You're more
just
than
that
welcome to share whatever you're comfortable sharing, Jack.
just because there's different types of things, and I'll touch on it incredibly lightly so as not to, you know, share
We
too much.
don't
but-
want you to say anything you're not comfortable sharing.
Yeah, but what I will say is that if I've ever had periods where I've, enjoyed myself or enjoyed a drink a little bit too
Yeah.
much,
Mhm.
if you get where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
there have been a few periods like that in the past for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when they happened for me, it was quite the opposite. If I was working like 100+ hour weeks,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have time. I wouldn't want to. I'd just be trying to get to sleep because I
Yeah.
have really bad insomnia, so I
Yeah.
can't ever sleep.
So you're saying for you it was because you were bored rather than because you were too busy?
Yeah, it was mediocrity. like I feel like my life is mediocre, and then I
Okay,
drink
yeah.
to try and add some flavour to it. And
So mine was a
Make it-
means to an end, where yours
Yeah.
was I'm bored, might as well.
I want to make my exactly.
Yeah, without being too.
Like, that's the first
I'm
time we
bored, I
clipped the
might
mic, boys.
That-
That's
yeah,
the
we-
first time we clipped the mic.
That was a big enough laugh to damage the recording. Fantastic. That's fine.
We're doing well.
The thing you can.
That's
we can
brilliant.
No, so yeah, you were saying yours was your board, so you might as well.
Kind of, yeah, but it was more like to make my life a bit more like a movie.
Okay, yeah.
What do you mean by like a movie? I'm curious now. What do you mean by like a movie?
Well, we all know that, you know, maybe it's autism, maybe it's Maybelline, boys.
Yes.
We all know that.
Yeah.
There are no secrets in this room, my friends, darlings. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I mean by it.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us as well, Jack. You didn't have to, and we appreciate the fact that you did.
Thank you.
But I think the thing to take from
What was the thing we were talking about before that? Did you ask me a question?
Oh, I asked a lot of questions.
All right.
Anyway, I think the thing we can take from this, for anyone listening, is because both of the gentlemen have just shared a little bit with us, and both of them are now out of it. Yes, both of them currently have a drink in hand, but they will be having one, maybe two drinks across the evening.
True.
Even regardless of whether you're bored or you're overworked or whatever, as Callum said, remember your self-worth. You can get out of it, and it is worth it to do so.
I think it's what you've got to learn in life is everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. It's just how you move forward from that and learn from it.
Absolutely.
You can either regret it for the rest of your life, or you can, okay, this happened, it was bad. I know why it's bad. I won't do it like this again. Just move on from it and try and become a stronger person, basically.
Mistakes are learning opportunities. You have two. As you said, you have two options. You make them again and again, or you learn from them and you move swiftly forwards.
Yeah.
And on the topic of moving swiftly forwards, let's move to some slightly lighter notes because, as we said, you are both in very good positions now. Callum, you're doing the podcast, that's fun.
Yeah.
How amazing your life has become. And we've got 33 whole unique listeners today. Because
Yes.
we've just, today, incidentally, for those of you who aren't aware, we record the podcast a week in advance. So the podcast, episode one of our podcast, was released today, and we are now recording episode 2 about 4 hours later, give or take.
Yeah.
And we have people listening, which is all very exciting.
10 times more than I thought.
Yeah, you thought we'd have 3.
I did. I don't want to be too optimistic.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't want to disappoint myself.
Expect nothing and you'll never be disappointed,
Exactly.
my friend.
The pair of you are such damn pessimists.
That's like
I
my
swear.
New Year's resolution.
I am an absurdist. Come on, you can
You're
believe that.
absurd, I'll give you that one. Expect nothing. Yeah, it is exactly like Callum's New Year's resolution. Those of you who were listening to the podcast will remember that Callum's New Year's resolution was nothing, because that way he'll definitely achieve it, basically.
If you set no New Year's resolutions, you won't be disappointed when you don't reach them.
How many pixels does that screen have?
What?
How many pixels does that screen have?
For those of you listening, Jack is pointing at the television screen that is functioning as my monitor. I don't know, Jack.
But then if you don't know, how do you know what your New Year's resolution is? It's whatever-
Oh my god! I just thought that was good.
no!
That took me ages to realise what you were trying to
I can't believe I left you hanging on it for so long without either of you figuring it out. You idiots. That was great.
When you were just being weird. Just
To be fair, it is just a question you would ask.
True. Well, ask a lot of questions then.
Goodness gracious me. Oh, I did
Ask
not
me
see
no
that coming,
questions,
and I
I'll tell you
really
who
wish
it
I
is.
still hadn't seen it.
you mean heard it?
Yeah, both. Mate, you keep talking about people who are watching the podcast. Don't you start getting high and mighty with me.
I don't know what you're on about. I ain't high on me.
So, what we're going to move on to now, very briefly, I think, is probably some petty wins and some petty victories, and then we'll round it out with a little more chatter about where we are these days.
Yeah. Don't forget the dating chat line from Jack. We'll put that in there.
Oh,
The
right,
dating
yeah.
Jack line.
The dating chat line from
I was
Jack.
going to say no one's dating. Well, someone's dating Jack. It's neither of us. Yeah, so we've got some petty wins and petty victories. Unfortunately, as I just said, we've only released our first episode today, so none of you have emailed in yet, which is fair, or tweeted us, which is fair enough. We'll get back to the ways to contact us later. But because we knew that would be the case, we've been harassing people we know, which they loved, by the way, for petty victories, petty petty moans. I know what I'm talking about, I promise.
I don't think you do, mate.
And no, I don't think I do either.
Have a
And-
super crabbies. Loosen your tail there.
I know Mr. Callum has got a couple.
A couple? I got one.
Alright, he's got one.
A colleague of mine at work, whenever they drop chips, then there's timers and he never put them on.
By drop chips, he means drop them in the fryer, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that for a minute
They
there.
drop chips in the fryer, and every time I go round, I notice there's not a timer. So I say, "Are you going to put a timer on this?" And every time she does it deliberately, just to piss me off.
So, at which stage have you realised she's been... How long has she been doing this?
Oh, since summer last year.
Okay, since summer last year. And when did you realise she was doing it for the sole purpose of winding you up?
I think about 3 weeks ago, or when she mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay, should we name and shame? Who
About
was that?
3
Yes.
weeks after she mentioned it.
No, she mentioned it. I didn't trigger what she was on about, and I was like, "Oh wait, she's doing it to annoy me." She knows that's a petty victory.
And this is...
That's Ellie Wigney.
Okay. Oh, well.
Oh,
surnames
good
as well.
on her.
So, yeah, Ellie has been systematically for the last 6 months.
That's fantastic.
Not putting a timer on the chips.
No,
she's too buggy.
I know her. That's hilarious.
You do know her. You
I would-
worked
I
with
would-
us for a while.
I would high five her. That is brilliant.
It grinds my gears because I'll go around there, but I don't know how long they got left. There's no timer.
No, I think the thing I really admire is she was able to do it just to wind you up for a year without rubbing it in your face.
Yeah.
Like, that is grand.
What about you, Lee? You had a petty moan or victory?
Yes, I have one from my mum, which is great.
Lovely. We did think our
Definitely.
mothers were going to be the first to post in.
Well,
so-
mine has. Yours clearly doesn't love you as much.
Clearly not. It's because I'm
And mine
adopted.
is... Yeah. just to be clear, Callum actually is adopted.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
just
not
saying
just
that.
saying that. Yeah, he's genuinely adopted. He thinks adoption's a great idea, but apparently his mum doesn't love him as much because of it. Despite the fact that all 3 of her children, by the way, are adopted.
Yes, they are.
So that wouldn't be why she loves you the least.
Are you more adopted than they are?
Well, we're all from the same person, so
You are clearly more adopted.
yes. Clearly. I'm not number one.
That's your brother, isn't
That's
it?
my brother.
Yeah.
Golden boy.
All 4'3" of them.
Give
Um,
4 for free. Yeah, that's right.
Why was he? Wasn't he in the Cavaliers?
Yeah, he was in the Household Cavalry.
Yeah. Why did they get rid of him
Queen's
again?
Guard because he was too short. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I think it was you need to be like there's no height restrictions, but they're all quite tall when they have like the parade horses, and he was like you'd have a load of tall people and then drop like a foot and a half, and it was like you can't really have that. So
And just to be clear, Alex, we both... Is it Alex?
Alex, yes,
We both think you're great, or I do. I don't know about Callum. Callum, it could be
oh, he's great.
Siblings.
He's Greek.
He's great.
Great. We both think you're great. So, no actual disses. What you did by taking that ring to Mordor was amazing.
It was great, and thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, Sauron would still be here if it weren't for you. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. I do still have a really weird petty moan from my mother, which apparently is also sort of kind of a petty victory, I suppose. Which is that,
That's a whole that's like 5 paragraphs.
yeah, I'm not reading most of that. Most of that is her updating me on next door's dog or something.
Oh, okay, nice.
The petty moan apparently, and I don't know which way round is the wrong way round, but she hates it when people hang toilet roll the wrong way round.
Oh.
I don't even know which way is the wrong way round.
I think it's because some people have it when the toilet rolls at the top.
Does it
when
go
you pull
inwards
it
or
down.
outwards? You put it inwards or
I
outwards?
don't know.
I have it outwards.
I mean, people do
No,
realise
it
you
is.
can actually take the sheets of paper off before you wipe with them, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, but I think she was getting
Like, it's
at
just harder to get them.
is you can either have the toilet paper on top of the roll or it's below.
But onto the vague petty victory bit is apparently if she goes into someone else's house and it's not hung properly, she will rehang their toilet roll for them.
I'm glad you verified it was a toilet roll. I'm not rehanging it.
Amazingly petty.
That is amazingly petty. Yeah, so she's rehanging people's toilet
Does
roll.
she
for
fold
them.
it into a triangle as well?
Do you know? I
Made-
hope not,
made
but
sense.
I also kind of hope so.
Puts a little chocolate mint on the
Oh dear. So yeah, that explains me because that is what brought me up.
happy days. What about you, Jack? Any petty moments of victories you want to add to the? Come on, put you on the spot now. Come on.
Yeah. No, I've got like something that I thought was a petty moan or a petty victory.
That's fine.
It was actually just ridiculously autistic.
We'll
this
take
was
that
on-
as well.
Take
This
that,
was on
yeah.
New Year's Eve, right? It's very Jacky. So, but this is the most autistic thing I've done that I can ever remember.
Jack is actually autistic, just to clarify. He's
High
not just using it as a slur.
High functioning autism.
Doesn't mean I function highly, okay? It does not mean that at all.
Okay.
Okay. But what was I saying? No.
Petty moan or victory.
Oh yeah. So on New Year's Eve, I got up for 2 minutes to dance with everyone from my table. I turned around, there were 2 people at my table.
You
They
were out
quite-
somewhere, I take it?
Yeah, the Louis.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Norwich, yeah.
Yeah, good. And I thought, yeah, my back hurts. I need to sit down, kind of thing. And there were these 2 like old in my seat. I'm like, I said, "Oh, excuse me, sorry," and I looked at me, and the lady looked at me, but I swear to God, she looked right in the eye, looked me right in the eyes, and I hadn't even had that much to drink, she looked at me, and she's like, "You wouldn't deprive a young man of his seat, would you?"
A young
and I'm
man?
just like, yeah, and I thought she was talking about her partner, like, as in, like, calling him a young man sarcastically. I thought she was being sarcastic and, like, being mean to me, because she was looking right at me while she said it,
Right.
but she was actually talking to him, so I got really upset. I'm like, She's just stolen my seat, my coat's on, and all our drinks and coats are on the table, and now she's being snotty to me because they're f***ing old. I'm like, what the f***? Like, which would make anyone angry, right? Turns out, I just read the situation completely f***ing wrong.
So what did you do?
So I went up to her and I said, well, I thought courtesy was dead in this country, or something to that effect.
Right.
And she's like, what? And I said, what? She was like, I was being nice. I'm like, what? It was pretty insane. She's like, yeah, I was talking to him. I'm like, oh, I thought you were talking to me and being snotty because he's old. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't call that if anything, I'd call that a victory for her, mate.
yeah. No. That's what I said. It's a petty moan about something I thought was a petty victory. And then I said, you know what? I am really sorry. Like, I've got autism, and like it's rare, but sometimes it just snaps like that. And I just realised what's going on, and I couldn't make sense of the situation because you were looking at me but talking to him. I said, I'm really sorry, and like we wish each other a happy new year, and she was like totally fine with it.
So your petty moan was upsetting old pensioners.
They weren't like that old. They just like were a bit fat, so it made them look older than they were.
Jesus, right? Okay, you came off as kind of nice up until that moment.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. That's like a bit scaly, like the lights fun.
So what? Oh, sorry.
No, you didn't take your whole Lord of the Rings movie to explain that, but thank you, Jack.
Yeah, no. That comes in 3 parts, folks. We will be releasing them individually. So while we were on Pity Moans and Victories, we do have another little feature, which again, no one's been able to send in to us because
No, I did have
they don't have time.
one.
But we have been, I forgot, we've been harassing friends and family, and we have a line for Callum to use on Tinder.
We
Or
do.
on dating apps.
This is a shout out to my friend Nathan.
The baldest man in the entire world.
He is. I'm not sure how far up his face he washes, whether he stops at like the forehead or if he carries on
He
going
goes all the
back.
way around to the back of his neck, mate.
But he did use a line which was, "Is your real name L'Oreal? ... because you're worth it."
So Callum is going to have a go with that, and we're going to see how it turns out. I'm not expecting great things from it, to be honest.
Alright, but
And
it's
if
better than nothing.
And if anyone does have either any petty moans or victories, or no offence, Nate, any slightly better pick-up lines for Callum to try on Tinder, maybe something that'll get a laugh from either us or them, please do send it in. We will again give out our contact details at the end of the podcast.
Speaking of pickup lines, I think Jack had a movie quote or something he wanted me to try.
Oh yes!
Yeah, I thought I'd mention something from the Marx Brothers film. I can't remember what the it's called. No, I genuinely can't. That's not the name of it. It was the 30s. They couldn't do
I was
that.
going to say that was a great name for a movie.
Yeah, well, let's do it. Let's claim it's copyright us now, right? Cool boys.
I'm going to be so busy with the censor.
Yeah.
on those headers.
Oh wait, you're not supposed to swear on this.
well,
we
you
quack
can,
it out.
I'll just be quacking
Well, you
it
should
out.
have told me that before, because I wouldn't have done. I'm really sorry.
It's alright. You get last time we thought we only swore 4 times. It's like 8.
Yeah, you did
Oh.
without realising it.
Goose ducket.
Yeah. So,
So, quote. It is from Groucho Marx, and he walks up to a lady and he says, "I could dance with you until the cows come home, but I'd rather dance with the cows until you come home." So you could make that into your own message, as in like,
I don't even know what that means.
You could say, you know, like, I could such and such until the cows come home.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
say,
okay.
yeah. So basically,
you don't
turn
have to
that
dance
into your
with
own line. So you could say, you know, I could talk to you until the cows come home.
I'm glad whoever talked to.
Yeah. Of course. I could talk to you until the cows come home, but I'd rather talk to the cows until you came home.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty nice.
You could like slick it though. You could like apply it to the situation. Maybe look at their bios and relate to something that you both like.
It sounds like a lot of effort.
No, man. If they like vaping, just look through their photos, have a look read their bio. If they're into like, I don't know, anything like vaping photography, it's like photography. That's a bad example.
What's vaping photography?
I've no idea. Vaping photography. Is that what you vape and
They were two separate things. They were
You put it together. There was no
vaping
point.
and photography.
Vaping,
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we do have a vaping photographer out there, please do get in touch so Jack can prove it's a thing.
It's when you have the 1930s cameras and the bulb explodes.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we need more of those. You have to stick your head under a blanket to do it.
Yeah.
No, a bit later than that. You know, the bulb that exploded in the 30s, like press
I mean, I
cameras.
wasn't there, mate.
I don't know. I think you were.
I'm still not a vampire.
I don't know. 30 years later, I think you're still. What's your opinion, Jack, on his vampirism?
I mean, I don't want to get bit, so I ain't saying nothing.
Yes.
Oh dear.
No comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw a photo of him in the background as a waiter at the Yalta Treaty Convention or something a little while
Oh
ago.
yeah, it was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good year.
Good year.
Heath Ledger's great-great-grandfather.
I'm not even sure if I look like Heath Ledger anymore. I got that when I was younger. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I look like Heath Ledger now because he's kind of dead. So he
No,
didn't get
well,
to
no,
be
but-
that.
I'd
No,
say
but-
budget Keanu Reeves is more your vibe.
Right,
yeah, man. Dollar shop, dollar store, Keanu. Yeah.
Either that or Borat. Around moustache.
Oh my God, no. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. At least he didn't say Bruno.
Bruno.
The problem is I don't watch movies. We're making movie references to things I've got no
Oh my
idea.
God, Ali Lee.
I need to go back to bed. Getting dissed by Ed Sheeran.
Can't help it. Can't help it. When the opportunity arises, you strike on it.
So, we've kind of talked about the downsides, and you've mentioned it in passing, Mr. Jack, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about where you are now, because I understand things have picked up, and your life is actually pretty good. Just, again, we want a nice positive way to end this podcast.
Silver lining to every cloud.
It's still not the silver lining, mate. It's Espresso Babe.
Yeah, okay, the
The name,
espresso babe,
the name
every
silver
cloud.
lining was taken. There's an Espresso Babe behind every cow. Yes.
Cow!
He was talking about cows earlier.
It was.
I'm not really the dating type.
No, historically you haven't been.
Yeah, I'm more of the fling type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's good for me, it works.
young free bachelor sort of vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
But you are now seeing somebody.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
I mean,
It took us by surprise. We're like, what?
I genuinely was taken aback by
I
you
know.
being in a
I
relationship.
literally said that to your girlfriend. What's her name? Judy. Jolene.
Jodie.
Judy.
Jolene.
Jolie. Jolie.
That's the Juliet. Yeah. Jodie.
Jodie, yes.
Cool. Well, I was saying it to her earlier. Like I said, was Lee like really surprised by it? Because I get the feeling Lee would be super surprised by it. And she's like, he was a bit surprised. I said, only a bit. She's like,
I
I
was
was being
very-
polite.
Yes.
I was very surprised. I was like, nah, I can't. Is that
You
has he?
didn't believe me.
I was like, has he died and come back as someone else?
You didn't believe me
I
when I
didn't.
told you you had a girlfriend.
I didn't.
So yeah, you've got a girlfriend now, and
Congratulations, sir.
you're working with. Well, you're shoveling horses, aren't you?
Yeah. Well.
Shoveling horses.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as
No,
a-
I planned weddings for the government for a little bit, but that was a 3-month contract. Now I'm a bit freer, so I'm just earning all my own money. Have been not able to keep all of my own money recently for a number of reasons,
No,
but
you're supporting people who need it, and that's laudable.
that kind of thing, yeah. And I don't need to do that anymore, which is nice.
That's
So
very
I can
good.
keep my own money and just save up and do whatever I want.
Get yourself back to where you want to be.
Exactly.
And you know what? That is so great, Jack, because you've been through some dark times. We've been there with you,
Yeah.
and it's nice to see you're actually.
You've come out of it and you're,
Thank you.
and you're happy in life.
And likewise, and this isn't a plug because I'm not going to mention what it is, but I'm just going to say, like, I'm thinking for the first time of actually saying, why don't I work for myself when I'm going to start my own business? But I'm not going to plug it because I'm not going to say what it is. It doesn't matter. But it's nice to see on a similar level, and it's inspiring to see you guys actually. I don't want to say following through. That's the only thing I can think of because that's a whole other story, and maybe,
You've done that.
maybe in a later episode.
Oh,
maybe
yes, I
in
forgot
a
about that
later
story.
episode. Why did I? So.
Wow, that was real vague. You kept that secret. You should be a spy.
Thank.
Anyway, so on the delightful topic of Jack following through,
No, you followed
We
through on
are-
your podcast. You actually
we
did
are
a
now-
thing. You did it. You
we
did
are-
it, guys.
we are now going to end the podcast and grin at Jack like Cheshire Cats because that story is definitely going to come up again at some point.
Yes, definitely.
We would love to hear more from you. We want to hear some about petty moans and victories. That's what it was, I remember. So a little bit about your petty moans and victories. We would love to have some chat-up lines for Callum to use. Because,
Definitely. My ones are a bit dry at the moment. I think I mainly responded, hey, do you like cheese?
Hey, yeah, you did actually start with "Hey, do you
I
like
got a
cheese?"
response saying hello.
The only thing drier than your pickup lines are like the girls after they hear your pickup lines.
I think
That's a fair point.
That's fair. So we would love to hear your pickup lines for Callum. We would love to hear your petty moments and victories, or just anything else you want to say to us, as long as it's not full of expletives. So again, our email address is expresso.babe@yahoo.com. That's EXPRESSO. And our Twitter handle is expresso_babe. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you for joining us today, Jack.
Thank you very much for having me on the podcast, guys. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, Mr. Callum.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Jack. And this is goodbye from Callum.
It's goodbye from Lee.
And goodbye from Jack.
Cheerio. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.